All right, West Coast Swing fans, in today's video, we're gonna give you 7 intermediate moves. We're actually gonna take the same move and build it from kind of a beginner pattern all the way to advanced, so you're gonna walk away with something you can dance tonight. So we're gonna start with the easiest version of the move, which is a whip with an outside turn and a duck and a rock and go. But let's build it piece by piece. So the first move we have is your basic whip, right? At this point, we all know a basic whip, and a basic whip isn't that cool if you're watching the intermediate video. The whip with a single outside turn is also maybe not super cool, but it's one of the first non-beginner moves that I learned, right? Whip with a single outside turn. The reason why this is important is that footwork is gonna cover all of the rest of the moves we're gonna do. 3 and 4, I put the hand up, she turns a half turn and a half turn and an anchor step. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this a 2-hand hold and lead what we call a hustle whip. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So for a hustle whip, you just want to be able to maintain the space by using this and staying connected and leading your whip. 1, 2, 3, and I feed her away. I close her back. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. But now I said we're going to use that whip with an outside turn footwork. I'm going to use the right hand to make the turn. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to pull this hand up, over for 5, for 6, 7, and 8. Let's look at it on the other side because the footwork's going to be important. Followers, I want you to really pay attention to Megan's footwork because you're going to use this in all the rest of the patterns. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I need to prep Megan forward on 4 with my left hand while getting the right hand ready to turn. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now for the leaders, exactly where you go for footwork is not as important as managing the space between your partner. What I mean by that is 1, 2, 3, and 4. It might feel better to step this way depending upon where your follower is going. Does that make sense? So that is the single outside turn with the right hand. But I can take the same move and make it look and feel different. 1, 2, 3, and 4 by dropping that hand, right? I get a different style. By the way, same footwork for the followers. If we look at that on this side, show you what's going on. We call this the big arm spin. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The key is that I have to prep her to be ready to turn, right? So now any release of this hand, she's turning. I'm swinging this arm down and up and over. Anchor step. If you want to practice that in your baby steps, you just take this hand, you swing it down. You have to let the fingers turn over the top to re-grip. So practice that in your baby spin. Turn, 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 turn. Let your hand turn over so your fingers still stay there. That is what we call the big arm spin. It's really just a whip with a single outside turn. And before we go on, in the corner here and at the end of the video, we'll put up the pattern tree chart. What the pattern tree chart is, it's a free download. It will show you, you'll be able to click like a choose your own adventure. Click whip. Whip with outside turn, and then nested in the whip with outside turn are all the different variations you can do. So if we could do that with a big arm spin, what if we took the, what if we changed hands and did it? Let's see what happens there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Change hands, 6, 7, and 8. So maybe I wanted to change to this right hand hold. If we look at this from this side, exact same footwork, same prep on count 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I connect to this. Over for 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now followers, you probably want to hear, I hope you hear from Megan some of the things that she does that makes this possible. So when we get to count 4, what goes on with you? Boom.
When a leader changes my connection point, I go from this connection to finding whatever connection I can. So this is going to be towards this arm, and I'm going to stay towards it the whole time. Just a little bit.
And when you watch all those cool videos on the internet, that's how they get to these weird things, because they're 22 and flexible, and then they just start grabbing a hold of stuff and they start ducking underneath. But it's based off of that principle that when
they don't do that on leg day.
You're always, you're always in some sort of connection, right? So I had a student once that said, I want to learn all this high level stuff, and I said, you actually already know it, right? Like if you're just dancing a basic inside turn, you're rotationally connecting to that. Well, that could be any kind of connection. That could be, we've done things like this where I use my body to create the connection, right? So it's the same idea. So we've got the big arm spin with the right hand. The right hand goes down. We've got the big arm spin where we change hands to the right hand, to Megan's right hand, to go up and over. What if we don't want to turn? Before we get to the duck, we can use the same thing. We call this a car wash whip. Same prep, and we just kind of roll through like a car wash, right? So what makes that possible is not my exceptional car washing abilities, although that helps if you're cogged in. We're going to talk about that. But it really is the fact that I just set her up for the turn, and she's doing the turn by herself by prepping her on 4. And when I social dance these, I kind of start, if I want to do this when we're going to get to the duck, I kind of start with the easier stuff to make sure that the follower is in the groove. So when I pop out the harder one, the footwork is just kind of already ingrained in there. But the car wash whip, one more time, 2, 3, and I prep. Now from here, I'm going to cog myself. So I might get behind her shoulder and squish her through. Boom. I might have to be in front of that shoulder, and now she cogs through me. Boom. Now, that's all working well. We want to do the duck. This is going to have a rock and go. This is much more advanced. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, and 10, 11, and 12. What's going on for that? We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm still going to start to lead this turn, which we said in the beginning, right? The whip with the outside turn, this left hand goes up to guide the turn over. Boring. Not really, because it's actually a necessary skill here. 2, 3, and 4. This is guiding the turn. This hand slides up for 5, 6. She ducks 7 and 8. I pull her out. 9 and 10, 11, and 12. Let's look at this on this side. So the left hand is still doing the majority of the work, right? The left hand is doing the majority of the work. 5, 6. Now from here, any kind of duck. I'm going to let Megan talk about the duck, but for me, I want to raise my elbow and circle her head. That's what I'm doing. Megan, what the heck are you doing?
So anytime that you feel your leader's arm in your armpit, it's probably going to be a duck.
We hope.
I thought I lost my mic thing. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. Right here. On 6, I'm staying connected to that arm.
Yes, you are.
So my arm kind of is up in this
L shape.
Robot position. That way, they can go over my head easily. And I'm putting my feet together because who knows, it might be an anchor, but then they're leading me forward into the rock and go and spin.
And on that note, when we talk about ducks, if we use this arm here, if you do it closer to the armpit, it's harder because there's less room, right? If you do it further down towards the elbow, it actually looks cooler, but it's easier. Megan hardly has to duck. And it also presents that arm, right? So if we do this again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I go to the elbow, it's easier. I have that elbow. What Megan said earlier, she's providing constant connection to that, so it allows me the opportunity to pull her out. 5, 6, into a rock and go, pull her back out into whatever's next. All right, gang, I got 2 things for you. Number 1, the 11 must-know patterns of West Coast swing. If you want to see what we think they are, you'll want to watch this video right here. Number 2, the pattern tree chart that we just said earlier, which will show you how all of the advanced patterns are traced back to the basic push, pass, and whip. It's a free download. It's clickable. It'll even go to the videos that have those moves. So you go whip, whip with outside turn. You can find all these videos. You can download it here for free.